Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Heather Hope with The Inspired Entrepreneur podcast. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday to you. You won't even believe what time it is right now. It's Sunday night at like 12:30 at night. Like 12:30 at night. It's crazy. I just got a whole bunch of work done and I've been completely out of it all day long. And I got back into a good place 2 hours ago of really wanting to get things done. So I got my last class I had to do for real estate was my contract writing class, 6 hours this weekend. And I just got a bunch of it done just now, completed it, took the exam, and did all of my graphics for this week for the podcast, scheduled them all out. And then, I'm still awake. I thought, so I'm filling out my planner for this week. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll do a podcast episode and then then I don't have to do anything tomorrow and I can do other things that I need to do. So something just told me, why don't you do it? So here we are. Okay. So April 13th, there's something about that date. I know it's our monthly anniversary, my husband and I, but, so I pulled it. I already clicked out of my Google Doc for my book. So I pulled the book off the shelf and I'm going to read it. It's a little bit longer than normal ones, but here we go. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, I appreciate you very much for being here. We do have listeners who listen daily. I appreciate you very, very much. But the new people, I wrote this book called The Inspired Entrepreneur, and it is basically the law of attraction for business owners. And it's a daily book. It's like an inspirational daily message. And you can pick it up on Amazon. And you can follow along each day. Just open it up each day and get your message. Or what I like to do is whenever I think about it or glance at it on the bookshelves, this is why I really wanted it to be an actual book that you can have in your office or your home. And when you just feel inspired or just feeling whatever, open it up. Just open it up to a random page and start reading. And I guarantee you'll get some good stuff out of it. Some stuff that you really need to hear in that moment. So here we go. April 13th. This is a good one. And I'll tell you, we'll talk more about it. Okay. So listening to your impulses. Within the law of attraction, it's been said 1,000,000 times that action needs to be a part of the manifestation. Okay. We've talked about this a lot lately. Basically, that's what everybody says. I wrote this a while back, and I know that there are some manifestations that do not need any action. And we'll get into that, but let me continue. So I wrote, that is correct, but only inspired action. How do you go about inspired action? You listen to your impulses. Excuse me, my nose itches. You listen to your impulses. Okay. But Heather, I don't hear anything. This is a common thing that people would say to me. Do you know that intuition that you have? That's what we are talking about. That is your inner guidance that is guiding you all day, every day. It's soft and gentle guiding when you just know what to do next. Okay, so it's your intuition. What we've been calling intuition all of our lives is our inner being, is our inner knowing, our broader perspective, our higher self, whatever you want to call it. It's that portion of us, that part of us that is guiding us, that knowing, when we just know. And I think there was a moment, I was driving around town. This is a while back. And there was just this moment that I really understood that intuition is our inner being, is our higher self guiding us. So it's just that knowing what to do, or that feeling of like, I think I'll do this, or I think I'll go this way. I think this is the right path. When you get that. Now, there's a lot of times when we don't feel that way, right? And that's that split energy of indecision, lack of clarity. Terrible feeling, right? It's an absolute awful feeling. The best thing to do there is to chill out, go meditate, go do something completely off the topic, go have fun, go do something else to take your mind off of it, because it's not lined up yet for you to make a decision. And when I feel that way, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not time to make a decision yet on that. So let's get back to, just for a moment, of how it's been said a million times that action needs to be part of the manifestation. Now, yes, that is true. That's true that it's been said a million times. But inspired action is the action that the thoughts that you get, that you do something that you're going to act upon. And it's not hard. It's typically not hard. Like, these things are not hard. I don't think anything is hard. Well, actually, I was talking to a mentor of mine, a new business partner. And I told him, I said, because we're talking about how people make things really hard. He's super spiritual and we're very, very connected. And I said, he was talking about how a lot of people make things hard when they don't need to be. Because we were talking about real estate, and that some people find real estate to be really easy. He's one of them, like really easy. And then there's other people that find it really hard. And we were talking about how it's like that with everything. Some people think things are easy. Some people think the same thing is hard. And it's just how you believe it to be true. And then that's your experience, right? So, and when you say things are hard, or things are difficult, you make them that way. You create your own reality when you do that, right? So, I learned from Bashar that nothing is inherently difficult. And I love that. I think about that often. Nothing is inherently difficult. Take that in. It's just how we perceive it to be. It's how we describe it to be. It's how we put it out in the universe, into our lives to be. So inspired action is not effort. It's ease. It's like, it's time. Inspired action is, it's time to do this action that you feel inspired to do. And it's going to be pretty easy to do it because the time is right. Okay, so there is an Abraham, what's it called? Audio video. I gotta find it. It's in one of my groups, an old group of mine, of Abraham says that action is not required. It's a very powerful one. It's just that we're here to do stuff, right? We're in physical form to do stuff. We can't just sit and twiddle our thumbs all day long. We will be bored. Then we won't be inspired. We won't have, the energy won't be there. Things won't manifest. So we want to do stuff. We want the hands in the clay, right? So we want the inspired action. We want stuff to do all day long. Now, we want vacations. We want to go sit on the beach sometimes. We want to relax, but we also want to take action for the fun of it, right? So, but there is a video that says that if we truly believed that we didn't need to do anything, things will fall into our lap as well. Like, action is not required. It's just that nobody's at that level. Now, occasionally I am, for sure, in a lot of areas, because I've witnessed things just come to me. Like, not just in thought, but like things come to me, right? That I didn't have to do anything. Or it's the tiniest little thing that I had to do to like allow that to come in, like an email or a text message, like the tiniest thing, right? You get a thought to text someone about something, poof, there it is. It's like a manifestation. You got what you wanted. Easy, right? Instead of like, well, let me go do these, 15 things and blah, 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 and wait forever because I don't really believe it. And, instead of like really believing it and just getting into a good place and following inspiration, following the next step, and then getting the idea because the timing's right, the energy's lined up, and then you get one little thought to do something, and then wow, there you go. It's it's incredible. The little thoughts, I talk about it a lot, how the little thoughts that I get to take some action, the littlest, tiniest little thoughts have been the biggest payoff. The very biggest payoff. It's incredible to me. It's just incredible that, so that's why I really pay attention to the thoughts that I have. And I try not to dismiss any. I try not to, like what they say, poo-poo on them, like, oh, that's not going to work. I rarely ever do that because I know better. I know to just follow what feels good, follow what feels like the next thing to do, follow whatever thought that comes to me, especially if it comes to me a few times. Like if I don't take action, it may come back. The thought may, get to me for a few days or a few weeks or so until I take the action. It's easy stuff, guys. Okay, so let's go back to our day. So pay attention to your intuition. That's really what we're talking about. Intuition. What do you feel like doing? What are the thoughts that come into your mind? What is that little bit of knowing that you feel? What do you feel like doing? Does the next thing feel right? If something's like, no, I don't feel like doing that. So my friend I was talking to, he was talking about how he was going to be in town and he was going to go, book a vacation home up north. But he just kept not feeling like it. It just wasn't working out. And it was taking a few days. And then finally somebody in his business said, hey, I have a new place, close by in another town. You could just stay there. And it was like, boom, there it was. So he had that feeling of, don't push it. Don't push the booking of this because it just didn't feel right yet. It just didn't work out. It didn't feel right. He didn't have that surge of energy of like, yeah, this is exciting. It was like, no, it felt forceful. And so I gave him my example as well because I love it. The example of when I manifested the ocean view home in Pismo. I said, well, I've been going to like all of the Abraham Hicks workshops up until I was up until I moved, but I said, we were approaching the San Francisco workshop, and I live outside of Phoenix, so Phoenix to San Francisco is like an 12 hour drive. To me, that's too far. I feel like something's getting me, like a bug or something. That's just too far for me. And I had been driving every weekend to LA, which is easy. And so I sat for, I kept looking at airfare and for like 2 weeks, because I knew, I did not think at all I was going to drive. I thought it was too far. It was going to take too long. I was going to start flying because it was going to be San Francisco, San Rafael, and Sacramento. So, I thought, well, those I'm going to have to, because it's weekly, right? I'm going to have to start flying on those ones, which was fine. I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like nothing was urging me to book the flights. It was just this feeling of, I don't know, just nothing ever. And then, I'm watching the calendar. And, it's best to do it at least 2 weeks prior, right? So I'm watching the calendar fly by. I'm in LA. I'm back and forth. And this whole time I'm telling people everywhere around me that we're moving to California soon. We're moving soon. And we had no plans. Like nothing was coming available yet. Every so often I check, places to live in Pismo and, Nothing was coming up yet, but whatever. I just kept saying we're moving to California soon. And then, I spent three weekends in a row, and these are long weekends in LA. And by the end of January, I told a friend of mine at the grocery store, I was like, I've lived like part-time. I've lived part-time or most of this, or at least half this month in California. And I realized how close I was getting to living in California because I just spent the last 3 weekends, like long weekends in California. And I'm like, oh, that's wild. Like I didn't think about it. It's like the whole next logical step thing is like you look back and you're like, oh, wow, I have been doing that. I have been getting closer. I just didn't realize it because it felt so natural. So I thought it was really cool because, that whole time for the past, 2 months, I've been telling people we're moving to California soon. In like 2-3 weeks. I kept saying that no matter how much time was passing, I was like, in a few weeks, 2-3 weeks, we're moving. And then I realized I had just spent half of January. It was in January of 2020. I spent half of January living in California, just in hotel rooms. Right. And I thought, oh, wow, that's so cool. Okay. So I was looking at that. So there was a week off at the end of January before, Esther was back in San Francisco. She, it was February 1st was the workshop in San Francisco. So I still didn't have anything booked. No problem. I know how to chill out. I really am good about chilling out because I know the answer's coming. Like I just know it. And so I've talked about this numerous times of how I did all of this, but I remember because the workshops are on Saturday, I have to leave at least like Thursday. I mean, that's typically for LA. So I'm still chilling out. I started doing my 3 things in the morning. So so FYI, I'm working on redesigning my 30 days to manifest your success journals. I started that this morning. It's like one of the only things I did this morning. Oh gosh, thinking of this morning, I think it was like 4 p.m. I think it was this morning. That's funny. I don't know what time it was. It was in the afternoon. And I started working on it, like making it a smaller size. I've got a designer redoing my logo and my colors, my fonts, all of that right now. So I was, incorporating the fonts and different stuff and making it nicer because I'm not 100% satisfied with the ones I created already. So, because it's been on the back of my mind to do stuff like that. So, the 3 things that I do, and I think I took a nap, and this is what made me come back on my computer and work on it because I was taking a kind of a slight nap, and I was thinking about, Heather, get back to your 3 things and focus on where you want to be soon because I want to move. Now, I love my house, but I want to move to where I'm going to start selling real estate. And so I want to start focusing on that and really do what I did for Pismo. So this is what I did. A week prior to that San Francisco trip, I started doing the 3 things, and that's just meditating, which I do almost daily. Just meditate, right? Clear your mind, clear your thoughts, breathe, and chill and meditate. 15 to 20 minutes a day. Okay, so first thing is meditate. Second thing is visualize. So what I visualized was after I was done meditating, I was, laying back in my recliner and I would visualize my perfect day in Pismo Beach. So I visualized being in my home on the ocean, and I would wake up, lift my head, open my eyes, and I would see the ocean from my bedroom window. And I would hear the ocean waves, and then I'd get up and go through my whole day and all that. And I'd visualize this. I did this every day after I meditated. The third thing I did was I wrote that out. Basically, not word for word, but, I wrote that story out. So I visualized it. So I got into a good place, meditation, right? And then I visualized it. however many minutes that is, because I love visualizing. It's one of my favorite things to do. So that takes a while. And then I wrote it. And that's what my journal is about. So you can pick it up. It's an 8.5 by 11 right now, but I'm redesigning it. It won't be out for a little while, but so I did that for a week. But so I started it, right? I started it a couple days prior. So like the week prior to San Francisco. Still no plans whatsoever of how I was getting there, anything, nothing. I think I finally bought the ticket for the workshop. I think I got that far. I had no plans to do anything else. So I remember Sunday evening, the Sunday before the San Francisco, I was like on the couch and I was talking to Roger and I'm like, it's just really funny. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm not worried. Like I know the answer's coming. I just know if I chill out and don't stress out, I don't do stress at all because I know it just hinders. If I chill out, the answer's coming. So I started, I think on that Saturday, right before that day, those 3 things. And it was either that night or the next day. So it might have been that night. I can't recall. I started thinking about, I drove to LA the last 3 weekends and that was fun. That was great. Really great experience. And then I just started thinking, I just started having some thoughts come through. And I thought, maybe I could drive to Pismo. It's, 8 to 9 hour drive with traffic. During COVID, it was like 7-ish hours. It was quite nice. But this was pre-COVID, right before. And so I was like, I started thinking about, well, instead of like stopping, because I was thinking about, well, if I was driving to San Francisco, I would probably have to stay in LA. And I just spent 3 weeks in LA. So, and then I drive up, and that's just 2 days of a lot of driving. I'm like, oh, that doesn't really sound all that wonderful, because I have been driving a lot. So then I started thinking, oh, what if I just drove to Pismo? Because the drive from Pismo to San Francisco is like 4.5 hours. So I looked it up. I was like, okay, 4.5, I can do that the next day. So then I got kind of excited about visiting Pismo because it had been several months that we had been there. And well, we were there in July for our honeymoon. And so this was January. So I don't know if we were there again between that time, but it had been some time. And I started getting excited about the idea of spending a night in Pismo because, for weeks now I've been telling everybody we're moving there. And so the idea of going there was really exciting. So listen to what I'm saying. Like I got the idea and then I got excited. Perfect. Bingo. Source is with me. Awesome. My only thing was, oh, Roger won't be with me. Is that going to be a problem? Because I thought he might be jealous. He's not. He's such a good guy. He wasn't at all. He was happy that I was. He's always happy with whatever I'm doing. As long as I'm happy, he's happy. So, so he was cool with that. So I was like, oh wow. So I'm checking out, places to stay. And so I'm like planning it. So it got planned pretty quickly. Once I started, allowing the thoughts to come in. And so I was excited. I'm like, awesome. I'm going to be staying in Pismo. Wonderful. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so I think I left Thursday morning. Yeah, I was staying. Let me think. Yeah, I was staying Thursday night in Pismo, leaving Friday morning, getting to San Francisco Friday afternoon. And then workshop was Saturday morning. And then I was going to leave Sunday and then stay Sunday night in Pismo again. And then come home Monday. That was the plan. And so Thursday I leave. and I drive to Pismo, and the drive was amazing. It was just, I was just flying high. I was on the high flying disc. I was so excited. And so I remember, if you know anything about like driving on the 101 or the whatever, along the coast, it's so pretty. It's beautiful, especially driving north. Between my favorite spot is between kind of just leaving Ventura through Santa Barbara is beautiful, and then up all the way to Pismo. Beautiful drive. It's like 90. Well, it's 90 miles from Santa Barbara to Pismo. Anyway, beautiful. It's my favorite spot. During that, it was just so pretty. I was in such an amazing mood that I was just like, music, up loud. I was just appreciating everything. I love California. Like, I could probably manifest something right now because I'm talking about it. I absolutely adore California. Now, we're not talking about politics. We're not talking about taxes. We're not talking about all the other stuff that I don't adore. I adore the scenery. I absolutely am in love with California. It is my favorite state by far out of any state. I've traveled cross country. I've traveled to many, many, many states in the U.S. It is my favorite by far. Now, I have some loves. I love Chicago. Upstate New York is gorgeous. New York City is kind of interesting. I kind of have a little bit of like, I wouldn't mind exploring a little bit more, not, just visiting once in a blue moon. And then some other states and cities, but still California, because it has such, amazing scenery and different things. Like, you can go through the state of California and see every climate, or see every, what's it called? Like elevation, see every, thing. You see the ocean, you see mountains, you see lakes, you see, green, you see pastures, you see vineyards, you see, it is so nice. Anyway, you get it. So that's the high vibe I was in. And so between Santa Barbara to Pismo, I was following like back and forth with this one U-Haul. And I noticed the plate. It was an Arizona plate. I guess that's not uncommon because one of the, largest places, U-Haul places, is Arizona. So I found that afterwards, but whatever. So I see the plate, and I think the plate may have had like triple digits on it. I can't remember if it did, but the plate did say AG on it, which is not uncommon because Arizona plates are like A, G, A. They all start with A, and then there's like a lot of different letters through the alphabet. So whatever, AG. And I thought AG, and I instantly thought Arroyo Grande. Arroyo Grande is a town right next to Pismo. It's like where I do some of the grocery shopping when we are there. And so I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. And so the whole time for 90 miles, we're just going back and forth, me and this U-Haul driver, just like passing back and forth. No big deal. Just cruising along. And I'm high vibing. And then I started thinking, oh, if this person gets off in Pismo, that's it. It's game over. We're moving here. It's just a sign. And so it was really funny because that U-Haul instantly took like a quick off ramp. You know how when you're like, you just realize you're going to miss your off ramp. And so you like beeline it and cross traffic and you just take it. That's what he did at the last, what's it called? Off ramp of Arroyo Grande. The very next one is Pismo. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so cool. I just thought it was really cool. So I take the next exit into Pismo and I get down, into town and driving through. And I just had tears. I was just having tears of joy because I'm like, I'm home. I feel such a sense of home when I'm there. Now I have a very high sense of home when I'm down in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley as well, because that's where I grew up. So it's it's a different feeling because I love Pismo so much because I love the ocean so much, but and the climate is so so much better for the most part. So I was just like having just the best day, and so I stay at a hotel that's on the ocean, and everything's fine. The next morning I wake up and I realize that I look out the window and there's the ocean. Just like I've been writing, I'm still writing it every morning, that I'm, waking up to the ocean, all that stuff every morning, meditating, visualizing, and writing it for a week. Okay, so but the night before that, I had this thought. I was on the computer doing something, and I had this thought. Hey, I'm in Pismo. I'm here. I wonder if I can look at anything. I wonder if there's anything available to to rent, since we're moving here soon, right? And so I'm looking through my phone, through my text messages from the past few months, because I've texted a few people from like Craigslist and from different ads. And I kept in touch with a couple people over time because, they were vacant and then we weren't sure if we were going to be there yet or whatever. And so I messaged 3 people that night just asking, hey, just wondering. One was a realtor, one was a private landlord, or 2 were private landlords. And so 2 got right back to me saying, no, sorry, they're rented. Good luck. I'm like, okay, cool. No big deal. Like literally no big deal, right? So the next morning I get up, I get ready, and I'm like, I'm going to go to my favorite donut shop and go chill. And so I was writing in my journal. I still have it. While I was eating my donut and having my coffee, I was just writing like, I love living in Pismo Beach. I love waking up to this place. I love being here. I love living here. I kept writing that. I love living in Pismo Beach. And in that moment, I got a text message from the 3rd guy that I had messaged the night before. And he's like, hey, the one that we were talking about before was rented, but I have another unit. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, can you come look at it? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm about to leave town in about an hour and a half. I need to be in San Francisco by like 4. And so, and I need to be checking out of my hotel too. And so I'm like, yeah, let me get over there. So I go over there and I walk in. It's on the 2nd floor. It's a house. It's on the 2nd floor. And it has views of the ocean from every single window, and views of the pier as well. And so I walk into the bedroom and I'm just looking at this ocean view, and I'm like, I told the owners, this couple, I said, this is what I've been writing about every day this week. I've been visualizing this view for the past week. You guys, you should be having goosebumps right now, because it was so incredible that I just walked into this place and there it was. And so I was just like, oh, this is so amazing. And but I had to go. I had to go check out. I had to go get on the road. I had to be in San Francisco soon. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to get going. But I really love this place. And, we'll work out the details, hopefully. And, one of my requirements was like, it has to be an easy like application, easy deposit, easy, approval. At the time, it was just like, that's what it needed to be. And so I go to San Francisco. Everything's wonderful. I come back on Sunday and, I'm checking out the place. I'm, walking down that road and just checking out the ocean, checking out the sunset, all the things, right? And then I leave and I come home. And that week, we do all of the stuff and we got approved. And we got the unit. And so what that meant was we needed to move in like 2 weeks. How I've been telling everybody, we're moving to Pismo in like 2 or 3 weeks, right? Well, we were moving in 2 weeks. Actually, we moved on February 13th, 2020. February 13th. I was in San Francisco February 1st, to the 2nd, came back home on the 3rd. So 10 days later, we were in Pismo. 10 days later. So like, I know how fast the universe can be. When things are lined up, things can happen really fast. You just have to go with it. As long as everything's feeling good and you don't feel fearful, like this is the stuff that you want, right? This was perfect. Everything was lined up. It was exactly what I wanted on the terms I wanted too. Super easy. And so I had to cancel the next two workshops because we were moving. I couldn't just up and leave 2 more times. It was like, no, I have to pack. I have to go. We have to get going. So that's what I did. I canceled the last 2 for February in California and we moved. So we moved February 13th to Pismo. And the next morning, so we get there, and then February 14th, we wake up in that bedroom. And all I had to do was open my eyes and I saw the ocean. So in my visualization and my writing every morning for 7 days, all I did was I did it for 7 days and then it manifested. So the reason why I created the journal, it's a 3-month journal of 30 days. So 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. The reason why I did 30 days, because when I do this religiously for 7 days, things really move. Well, I did 30 days in this journal. You can do whatever you want, but I did 30 days because I do this work for a living. I do this whole Abraham stuff like all the time, right? So I manifest things really quick. And I don't like trying, I don't want to make a promise to anybody, but it's like, here, do this for 30 days and you will manifest something, thoughts, actions, things coming to you, things lining up in 30 days for sure. For me, it just seems to be 7 days and it's like, boom, there's my house. It's like incredible. So I pulled out my journal today because I was going to start doing it for Paradise Valley because it works. Every time I do it, it works. But so my visualization and my writing every day for 7 days was that when I wake up in the morning, I lift up my head and open my eyes and there's the ocean. In reality of what happened was I woke up, I opened up my eyes and I never had to lift my head. Where the window was, the bed was, and the pillows, I never had to lift my head. All I had to do was open my eyes and there was the ocean. It was so incredible. It was just better. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even have to move. I didn't have to lift my head and there was the ocean. It was just really one of those moments of like, oh my gosh, it's even better. I don't even have to move and I get to see the ocean. So anyway, so I told that story to my new business partner and, it was just like, blew him away. And it's just one of those things of don't force yourself to do anything that you don't feel ready to do. Don't make the plans yet until you're like excited about them or until you realize why you didn't feel like making them. He didn't feel like making the one plan because what was coming in was better. So he's like, oh, okay, there you go. That was the answer. That's why the energy wasn't moving around and I wasn't feeling inspired to do that. So don't take action until you feel like, you really want to do it. You really feel inspired to do it. You feel compelled to do it. You feel like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And you'll also realize that things will line up. When you're doing things from inspired action, things will like easily happen. So like when I was trying to figure out the airfare or not the airfare, but the air lines in the flights, it was like, I couldn't find anything direct. So I had to fly, I would have to fly through LA and up to San Francisco. And it was like many hours. And I'm like, it just didn't feel appealing to me. It was all right, but it wasn't like, oh yes, I really want to do it. And then it was rising in price and nothing felt right. So I just kept stalling on it. And what Abraham says about procrastination is just knowing that the energy's not lined up yet and not taking action yet. That's all it is. And just chilling out and knowing, reminding yourself that it will come. The idea will come, and it could come so quickly, and then everything's good. Like the plans just fall right into place. Everything's good. Okay, guys, I need to go to bed. It's after 1. I need to go to bed soon. I'm not really tired, but my voice is tired, so we're going to have to call it a day. So have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. Remember to just follow your intuition. Don't make yourself do things that you don't feel like doing. I know that sounds so like, well, how am I ever going to get things done? Because you want to do things. You want to do things. I've heard that from people. You know, what I should tell people, I think maybe I do, but there's some particular people that like they think that they literally don't want to do anything for the rest of their lives. Like they want to retire and they want to be done. They don't want to do anything. And really, because it's like, well, you know, I would never feel like doing anything. And that's not true. You will feel like doing something. So if you actually allow yourself to chill for long enough, like just quit, like, you know, like for a while, I was just kept quitting things, like in my mind, just like I quit. Remember, I was on vacation for 2 weeks. I got a lot done that week, those 2 weeks, because I kept giving myself permission to be on vacation. And the more I did that, the more like I felt inspired to do things because I was just like relaxed. I was all chill. So there's one person in particular, and let me think, you know, I'll see if she comes into my world tomorrow after thinking about her. I try not to because she's kind of an interesting character, but she's always told me that, you know, she just doesn't want to do anything. She wants to sit at the pool and do nothing. And I'm just like, you probably will get bored. Like you'll get bored eventually. So give yourself that time to go sit at the pool for a week. And you probably won't even last a week. But give yourself that permission of like, you know what? I quit. I'm done with this. Go chill out. Go take a vacation and see what happens, because you will like want to do something, because you're here to create, you're here to expand, you're here to do more because you want to have fun. You don't want to just sit at the pool all day, every single day for years and years. You just don't. You don't. Like, it sounds lovely until you do it and then you're like, okay, I'm bored. What else can I do? So give yourself that permission to go chill out for a while. And then you'll be like, I really want to do something now. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Go do something, whatever comes to your mind. Okay, guys, I'm going to go. I need to go drink some water and go to bed. So have an amazing rest of your Tuesday, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.